Hi, you guys. Um, I thought I would run something by you that I think is kind of an interesting piece of information. A lot of people forget that everything we say, everything we think, um, pretty much everything we do is actually recorded in a book. And it's shown throughout the Bible, all the books. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to give you all those books. Because a lot of these books will be whipped out on the day of judgment. Um, they were even whipped. They're even being whipped out on the church during harvest season. So it's something to keep in mind. In Genesis 5:1, we see the book of generations, and I also believe that this is the same book they call the book of records in Esther 6, verse 1 and 9, verse 32. I think they're the same books, and that's just how God keeps records of where we all come from, who our ancestry is, okay? I assume that would be because there are certain, like for instance, in Jacob, there was blessings where Esau and his descendants didn't have blessings. So this is how that it's tracked in heaven as to who comes from where. I guess so that those blessings pass on. We have the book of the covenant, which is seen in Exodus 24, verse 7, and 34, verse 30. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. That's that's Second Chronicles 34, verse 30, I believe. If I can read my own writing, sorry. But that's the book of the covenants, okay? Basically all the promises, like I think of the book of promises. We have, of course, the book of life, okay? In Daniel 12, verse 1, we see where sin blots your name out, okay? In Exodus 32, verse 33, we see this book of life. I think there's another place where you find it too, but I didn't run across it. But the book of life is if you're removed from it, not good. Not good, because you have to be found in the book of life to begin with. And the Cain line, they're not in the book of life. That I'm sure of. In fact, like there is in Revelation, there is a reference to the book of life. In Revelation 3:5, he that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. The meaning of overcome is to defeat, as in sin, to win a victory. So in order not to have your name blotted out in the church, according to this statement by Jesus, you have to overcome sin. And that was the same premise in the Old Testament, except we didn't have Jesus as they didn't have Jesus as the intermediate to step between that sin so that you could ask for forgiveness, but you can't be found guilty of it in order to keep your name in. We also have a book of wars, which is mentioned in Numbers 21, verse 14. Can't tell you what that book of wars is, but I assume with 6,000 years, that book's probably pretty full too. And it could even be a book of wars between people. I'm not sure. We have our Bible, of course. We have a book of curses, which is in Numbers 5:23 and Deuteronomy 29, verse 20. We have a book of Kings that we see in 2 Chronicles 25 and 27. And that would keep track of all the king lineages, all the royalty lineages throughout the Bible. I told you the book of records, I believe, is also the book of generations. We also have the book of remembrance. A lot of people are not aware of this. That's in Malachi 3, verse 16. Says that it is specifically for those that fear the Lord and think upon his name. So every time we think of him during our day, that goes in the book, which I thought was very interesting. It's a very interesting thing. So how often do you think of him? You know, one of the things Jesus tells us is that he better know who you are, and you better know who he is, which is really, really important. And Paul tells you this as well, that you better know who Jesus Christ is. Better yet, you better know who the Father is. If you don't know who the Father is, when you get, he's going to say, I don't know who you are. And that's exactly what he shows you in several parables when he says, I don't know who you are. Because this book of remembrance is where they record. Every time you thought about him, every time you looked up, every time you went looking for him in the Bible to get to know him, every time you prayed to him and said, Father, I want to know you, you're recorded in that book of remembrance. And I have a feeling that is tied into your book of life. I do. The other thing is, then we have the accusers. The accuser's book. How do we see that accuser's book? Well, first of all, we see in Isaiah 29:11. Okay. We also see it in Revelation 10, verses 2 through 10. We see in Revelation an angel with his foot on the sea and his other foot on the land. That is Satan. And John is told by God, go take that book from the angel. Okay. And he's then told by the angel to eat the book. Okay. The book is sweet in the mouth and then sours in the belly. Well, those are lies. Lies are sweet to the mouth. And then when you pay the consequences of those lies, they're sour on the belly. And when we get to Revelation, that accuser's book is going to be destroyed, right along with the book with the 7 seals, which is the deed. It basically is the deed of all of God's creation that he handed over to Satan. He's taken the deed back to all creation, period. As well as, I think this firstborn rights is also part of that book, and that firstborn rights is going to go down too. I think that day is over with as well. So I caution people always, you know, we tend to forget. We think I can say something to her because she can't see my face on internet, or even on the phone. Even on the phone, people can be very rude to somebody who's trying to help them with a service, whether it be your cell phone or, you know, a utility or a bill that you got that you think is wrong. Try to remember that, because whatever you do, you think you do, and that other person at the other end who can't see you, that you can say whatever you want, but it's being recorded in a book, and he's seeing you. God is watching you. His angels are watching you. They're recording. And the accuser, that's the big one. I can just, there are days when I can hear that accuser running. I can hear him calling to him. Look what she just did. You can't take her. And that's why I tell you, everything you do, everything is recorded. Everything. And when judgment comes, and this goes for anyone in the church that he doesn't take, because I told you the church will be the first, the very first in judgment. That's why you see it before Revelation. He is judging. In fact, this is the season. He is already starting to bundle the tares from the wheat in the church, and that's been occurring since September. I tell you, I just caution. I caution. Remember, you think you're doing stuff in secret, and Paul tells you this. In fact, several of the apostles do. You think you're doing stuff in secret, and you are not. He is watching. He is recording it, and he will use it when he gets to judgment, because God is the ultimate judge. You have free will. You have free will to do whatever you want, and he will use your He will let you destroy yourself, and then he will show you, pull out a book, and before your creator, you will stand and you will listen to all the things that you did and all the things that you said and why your judgment is what it is. He is the ultimate Supreme Court. The ultimate Supreme Court. He knows everything that you think, everything that you say, everything that you feel. He judges your heart. So, please remember this. Go into prayer. Ask for forgiveness. None of us are perfect. Absolutely none of us. None of us. We are humans. We are dirty rags. So, you know, it's almost like truly, especially in end times, Satan is ruling. He is ruling, and he is using many people to get what he wants. He wants your soul. He is the ultimate salesman. The ultimate. I'll give you this for your soul. Here, this'll feel good. Tell her off. Tell him off. Call him a name. That'll feel good. This is why I say, you better know who he is, and you better know how he works, because I will tell you, he will use you to do his bidding, knowing that not only is he trying to convict a person or convict somebody or to make them look wrong or whatever, but he's also using you. He's using you. He's using you so you get your name in that doggone book. Please, 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 please don't. Please remember, think before you say, think before you do, and remember, God's watching. And if you catch yourself doing something, for gosh sakes, recognize it, repent, tell him you're sorry. That's what we have Christ for. He's our intermediate. He intercedes for us. So, but you've got to show him that you recognize how wrong you were and catch it. Because that's part of having the Holy Spirit. That's part of having a circumcised heart, guys. Is that you should be catching this. As soon as you do it, you should be catching this. If you're not, you need to be worried. Because something's missing from right here. Because when Jesus Christ is there, let me tell you, as soon as you have a nasty thought towards anyone, not just your brothers and sisters, when you have a nasty thought or a nasty tendency towards someone, it's gonna hit you right here. So this is why I tell you, and I am going to post a few people that I have found recently here. This preacher who had an experience with God, and I know he did because he says the same words I do. And when I heard him, I was like, whoa, whoa, he's even using some of the same teachings that I do. So this is why I tell you, please be careful. Please, we're literally in the end times. Literally, guys, weeks away. Please watch what you think. Watch what you say. Watch what you do. And just remember, ask Jesus for forgiveness. Turn to him. Not hard. It really isn't. And he is waiting with open arms. Well, God bless you all. And hope you're having a wonderful day. I have another video coming out. Unfortunately, I'm waiting on my husband. I put him in charge because he does a nice job of them. Being an engineer, let me tell you, the guy, he's got a master's degree. Like, he can whiz this stuff out. There's no way I was touching this, but he can whiz this stuff out, and he does a nice job of it. So I'm letting him do it, and we're kind of waiting on him. But anyhow, so I'll see you all later. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.